9 months ago, under sunny skies, the NHRA Winston Championship season kicked off with a fistful of expected players. And since then, one of the strangest seasons on record has come to pass. The Pro Stock Dodgers dominated, then disappeared. A rookie blazed a nitro trail into the winner's circle. Funny cars tried to fly. We've seen 9 different Pro Stock winners, and it rained. Top Fuel's top pilot flew the quickest car on the planet. The professor taught everyone lesson number 50. A guy with an earring had the last lap in Memphis. Independence danced the victory dance, and it rained some more. Now as the curtain starts to descend on 1995, the question is, will this last act be comedy or tragedy? And who will play the starring role? TNN proudly presents American Sports Cavalcade and covers out the 1995 NHRA Winston Select Finals from Pomona Raceway at the Los Angeles County Fairplay. Yesterday, rookie Top Fuel driver Larry Dixon earned $100,000 defeating Scott Coletta in the final round of the Budweiser Classic, the biggest single payday in NHRA drag racing history. Here's the beautiful trophy. It also came with $1,100 bills. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Evans. Believe it or not, Dixon could make more than $100,000 today. Here's how he's got to do it. If he wins the Winston Select Finals title, that's a bonus of $50,000 for Larry. He won both of the events. If he sets low ET of the day, another $50,000 in the Slick 50 World Record Holders Club. Now, in round number 1, guess what? He set low ET so far. I talked with him. Hey, Larry, you ever been 311 miles an hour?
No way, not at all. I mean, God,
Just did.
That was unbelievable. I mean, that car pulled so good through the middle of the track. It was just smooth. God, it was nice.
In low ET of the day at 472, creeping up on that 50 grand.
That wouldn't be a bad bonus, that Slick 50 money. We're sure going for it. And, you know, thanks to everybody on the team. These guys are the men, man.
You may have a tax problem in 95. The Slick 50 bonus money is good in the other pro classes as well. Ralph Shaheen is in a needy funny car pit.
Steve Cruz Pedregon would love the bonus money that's available for the funny car division because he needs it to repair his McDonald's machine. Now, you might remember when we came here for the Winter Nationals back in February, Cruz won the funny car title and gave Joe Gibbs his first ever NHRA victory as a team owner. Of course, that meant the coach got another Gatorade bath. Well, Cruiser got a bath of his own qualifying for the Winston Select Finals. Watch this as the car lets go, giving Cruz an oil bath. The McDonald's crew got the car back together. In fact, it did such a good job that Cruz was able to beat Whit Bazemore in round 1. In the process, Cruiser clocked a 5:11. But it was Al Hoffman throwing down the gauntlet in the first round of eliminations with a 5:04, and sending a message that he wants to claim the bonus bucks. Low ET of eliminations in the fuel categories is good for $50,000. In pro stock, the ante is $25K. Still some good cash. Here's Bob Fry.
Ralph, with all the money that's also up for grabs in the pro stock category here this weekend, the NHRA Tech Department's working overtime to make sure that everybody's playing exactly by the rules. Very big thing, especially to a guy like Warren Johnson. Warren, you're very happy that the Tech guys are giving everybody the once-over.
Absolutely. What we feel we're getting now is a level playing field. Everybody has to jump through the same hoops. We're all pretty well assured that we're legal, and that's all we're ever asking.
Feel that same way when you're the one that's got to tear down?
Well, obviously I'd be the one to pick because usually we're probably the fastest in the category, so I'm a logical choice. But if I've got to do it every weekend and somebody else doesn't, then it may get a little wearing, but that's just part of the procedure.
So far, he would be the logical choice here this weekend after 2 rounds of competition. WJ the quickest and the guy that's got the leg up on winning that $25,000. Now let's join action in Top Fuel for round number 2.
And it will feature a young lady that prefers Pomona to any other track on the circuit, Shelly Anderson. won the Bud Classic here a year ago, set a national record in the process that has since been eclipsed, and she wouldn't mind getting that back. Plus, she could almost run from her house to the racetrack, Ralph.
That's exactly right. She's going to match up against the Smokin' Joe's entry of Jim Head. The thing I find amazing about Shelly Anderson and how they tune that car is it does so well in the air in Pomona. And she has mentioned that there's something mystical about their family and how they seem to know how to tune the car for the thick Pomona smoggy air. Because we've got some heavy haze here this weekend. Here's a good look at Shelly.
Shelly Anderson's communications graduate, Cal State Fullerton. And Jim Head, a graduate engineer who did not qualify. So why is he in the show? Well, another driver, Mike Smith, did not make the call, so Head is in. He beat Eddie Hill in round number 1, who was the low qualifier. Actually, Eddie Hill beat himself smoking the tires. Hill's best of 496. And there is Brad Anderson, one of the true innovators, borderline genius, really, when it comes to designing racing cars for both pro and sportsman racing. So this is round number 2, race number 1, Shelly and Jim Head. Shelly Anderson has had smoked some pistons out of the Big Hemi. 488, 286 miles an hour. Not exactly stellar, but hey, she goes to the Final Four, and that's what she wants.
We've got plenty more Top Fuel action coming your way when we return to Pomona. Back to the Winston Select Finals in Pomona, California with more coverage of Top Fuel. Burnout's complete. And here's Steve Evans with Shelly Anderson.
Shelly, you wanted a 478, you got a 488.
Hey, we won. The Western Auto Texaco Haviland cars in the semis. We're just lucky at Pomona. We may not be good, but we'll take it.
Can Ray find a 10th in this thing?
Yeah, I think he can. It ran better. The rods are in it. We put on the better mags and coils, and I think it'll run a 70 next run.
It'll need to.
Of course, Ray Alley, kind of a co-crew chief, along with Shelly's father, Brad Anderson. I don't think she's just lucky here, Steve. I think this combination just really knows how to make it hook up on this Pomona racetrack.
I think you're right. Here is Scott Coletta, who did not sleep well last night. He kept reliving the disaster that was the Bud Classic final. He redlined against Larry Dixon and cost the team, well, $85,000, the difference between winner and runner-up. Corey McLennan would have just loved to be in the final of the Bud Classic. That didn't happen for his McDonald dragster. But crew chief Lee Beard hopes to take this season out on a winning note.
Corey Mack got past Tommy Johnson Jr. in round number 1, and he qualified at number 7 with a 479 and 309 miles an hour. So Corey Mack has got the stuff to get down the Pomona racetrack well if they can keep it together.
These two are great friends until they meet on the starting line, and nobody they'd rather beat than each other. What a beautiful tune-up on both of those cars, but Coletta's was the finest at 477.302. Corey Mack, 490, fading in the last 100 feet to 297.
Corey Mack gets him at the starting line with a 464 reaction time, but as they start to make their way down the racetrack, Dick LaHaye's genius mind overpowers a 553 reaction time of Scott Coletta. There's nothing but raw fuel pours out of Corey Mack's car. Coletta gets the win in Steve.
Well, your old pal Corey Mack had the jump on you at the start, but your 477 more than covered him up.
Yeah, you know, I guess who knows. Maybe I'm a little leery after yesterday, but...
Gun shy.
Yeah, it'll come back.
77 tells me Dick LaHaye is back on track with this thing.
Yeah, it's clean, and we'll go back and see if I can do my job, and maybe we'll win this thing.
I think right now that's probably the biggest thing with this team. If Scott Coletta can get his mind in sync with how the car is running and get those reaction times back the way he'd like to see them. In this next pairing, of course, Bob Vandegrift Jr., and Larry Dixon, a rematch of the final round at the U.S. Nationals.
And they're even in the same lane, if you can believe that. Near side is the Jersey star, Bob Vandergrift Jr., who inadvertently deployed the parachute with a lead in the final round at Indy. I'll never forget that. Scott Coletta. Larry Dixon will never forget 1995, his rookie season. He's won 4 races, including the U.S. Nationals, and right now has low elapsed time contending for that $50,000 here in a 472 to beat Jack Ostrander in round 1.
And he already has a national record from earlier this year at Englishtown and a win at the Budweiser Classic. Not bad.
Not bad at all. Vandergrift Jr. would like to, well, they'd like to flat whip Dixon. But that is not going to happen. Oh, my. Larry Dixon, 4.69. That might just put away that 50 grand at 305 miles an hour. Vandergrift trails at 494.
It just continues to march on for Larry Dixon. Jimmy Brock, crew chief for Joe Amato, reaches in. Joe crosses himself. I think I'd do that too if I was at the controls of a top dealer. Burnout completed for the babbling machine. And now Blaine Johnson gets done. Here's Steve with our winner of the last one.
I know how to get a giggle out of Larry Dixon. You tell him he just went 469.
That's awesome. What can I say? Awesome. Especially in the heat like this. I mean, Wes Cerny, everybody's going. I mean, it's just unbelievable. We're going for our number 5 win. There's 50 grand on the line from Slick 50 and the Winston money and NHRA money. We got the Bud money. That's all I can say for Miller and Wins and Pure Later and GMC and everybody else.
Just ramble on, boy. We're going back.
I think that's the most amazing thing. Nobody is surprised to see big numbers at Pomona, but not this early in the day. In fact, Dixon ran a 311-mile-an-hour pass in round number 1 and backs us up at the last one. Joe Amato, this is one of the best runs he's had in a long time, getting into round number 2.
You bet it is. Jimmy Brock has got this thing singing. Joe's excited. He's pumping himself up. Blaine Johnson has been number 1 qualifier 7 times this year, has still not won a race, even though Alan, his brother, has put him into 3 finals. You know, and you're right about this racetrack. Normally, the big numbers come in round 1 when it's cool or round 4 when it's cool. Not in the middle of the day. That's why that 69 was so astounding by Larry Dixon. There's Jimmy Brock.
Well, you know, it's the last race of the season, too, so all these crew chiefs are just throwing everything that's in the trailer into the car.
Baby, Blaine Johnson just whips up on Amato and almost takes low ET at 470, 302. Absolutely clean. No fire, no oil.
Well, Joe Amato's day is done, but Shelly Anderson and Blaine Johnson will continue. Blaine will have lane choice in that matchup. And in the other pairing, Larry Dixon and Scott Coletta will go at it. And the rookie gets lane choice on the champ. Here's Steve.
You know, it's tough out there when you run a 470 and it's not good enough for low ET.
Hey, well, that's our personal best, you know. We're just trying to keep up with the rest of these guys. They're out there flying, you know, they're knocking parts on the ground. This thing didn't hurt a single part last run, went 76. We said, man, we got to step on it, see what we get back into that low ET category, and we're right there right now.
More than anything else, you need to win your first race. Here's Joe Amato.
Good run, buddy.
Thanks,
Good run.
man. Yeah, that first race is very elusive, you might say, but we're going to work on it today.
470.
Well, Joe Amato congratulating Blaine Johnson. Maybe we'll see Blaine in another final a little later on. Hey, you like funny cars? Guess what? Funny cars are next. There's Force and Scusa. We'll be back.
Welcome back to the Winston Select Finals at Pomona. I'm Steve Evans along with Ralph Shaheen, and that's a very popular exhibit in the pits. It's the NHRA Power Plant, a visual exhibition of past and present NHRA programs and membership benefits. You know, you can become a member for $52 annually and get 48 issues of National Dragster, a pen, a patch, a rule book, a decal, just all kinds of benefits. And if you call the number on your screen, you'll get, as a bonus, the Diamond P Video Drag Racing 94, so make that call. And Ralph, you make a call between John Force and Dean Scusa.
Well, the way things have been going at the back half of the season here, no offense to Dean Scusa, but you got to give the nod to John Force. The Winston champ has done it again, 5 championships, all of course because of these guys in the Castro shirts, including that man, Bernie Federley. They've done a great job of putting this car into top-notch running form. Austin Coyle has got everybody on this crew hitting at all 8.
John Force, though, has not won a race in the last 4 outings. Does not want to end the season like that. He's qualified number 1 at a 5:02. Now, Dean Scusa has an asset at this race, and that is Larry Myers, a crew chief with a winning record in both Top Fuel and Funny Car. In fact, he was Pendragon's crew chief the year he won the Winston title. So that's a huge plus, and it reflected in qualifying number 8 at a 5:16. Best that car has run in a good long time.
Dean's dad, Don, locking him in. There's a good look at John Force.
Force wants that 50 grand for low ET, and he does not have it right now. That belongs to Al Hoffman at 5:04, so that is what Force is trying to do. Besides beat Scusa, dip under 5:04. Whoa, Dean Scusa gives John Force all he could handle. John just misses with a 5:05, but how about Scusa at 5:09? Larry Myers making a difference.
You know, we all know how violent driving a funny car is, but did you see how smooth it looked at Force's hands from the replay? Another nice, solid pass for the Winston champion. A 5:05, 303 miles an hour, not a hiccup down the racetrack. Everything runs smooth for the Castle car, and he puts Scusa on the trailer and talks to Steve.
That was a tremendous drag race. In 05 to an 09, the kid was there.
He was right out the window. You know what's really amazing is that we're running this old heap soft, and she's running old 5s because we're trying to get through the heat but the numbers are coming up by Dixon, but we're excited. The old Pontiac, she's talking today.
And so's John Force.
Did you ever doubt that? That 05's still not good enough for low ET, but as John says, he's right in the thick of things. He knows he's there, and as we've been saying, Steve, the big numbers, the low numbers usually come in the early evening session, so maybe if John can make his way through the Final 4, he'll get another shot at it.
Here is potentially a great matchup. Cruz Pendragon against Chuck Etchels. Etchels comes into this race. The winner at Dallas just 2 weeks ago. Pendragon has already taken several shots at that car, including that exploded body we showed you at the top of the show. Chuck Etchels qualified number 6 at a 5:12, beat Kenji Okazaki in round number 1. Pendragon qualified number 3 and took out Whit Bazemore. Body latching down on Etchels' car.
Boy, this is a car that has really come on strong, too, in the end of the 1995 season as Bob Brandt locks it down. There's Buster Couch, of course. Larry Frazier locking in Cruz Pendragon. This is the final time. We should mention that Buster Couch will be at the controls. This is Buster's last race here as the chief starter.
After 32 years, it is Buster's last stand. What a race! Whoa! Pendragon squeaks it out 5:25 to a 5:32. They were just about dead even off of the starting line. The competition here in the final race of the year just couldn't be much better.
Well, Chuck Etchels has gotten very, very strong at the end of 1995, and Cruz knew that. Look how Cruz's car kind of launched and dipped the rear end to the left a little bit. That was probably the biggest problem for Cruz off the line. He had a good reaction time with a 495 to a sleepier 507 for Etchels. And problems here for Cruz at the end as smoke comes out of the car, but just enough to get him to the win.
Cruz, that was a 1,000-foot fuse on a 1320 track.
Yeah, Steve, it left with a cylinder out. It was starting to pull on me. I was trying to keep it off the wall. It was nosing over. I knew we were in trouble. I thought if we lift and think about that crash we had, we're not going to get the win light. So I said, Steve, we're taking a chance. This might blow up.
You do what you got to do.
That's really interesting because 90% of the time in a funny car, when it starts to nose over, if you don't lift, it does blow. That's not necessarily the case in a top fuel dragster, but in a funny car, it's almost guaranteed. And Cruz has already blown one to smithereens earlier. Gary Clapshaw, the Memphis winner, he's set to go up against, guess who? Hollywood. Casey Spurlock's got the front of the loop car. He's already fumigated the quarter-mile racetrack, and they're set to go now, Steve.
Well, Spurlock qualified number 2 at a 5:04, huh? That's pretty good for Old Hollywood. 2:97 and a 5:10 to beat Tom Hoover in round number 1. Gary Clapshaw qualified 10th at a 5:22, just 2:84, put out Gary Densham in round number 1. And I think the story for both of these teams is identical. Up and down, all over the place. You never know where they're gonna run.
The only difference is, of course, here you have the independent coming up against a full sponsored effort, and the Pomona crowd here in California loves the independent.
Trust me, Clapshaw could afford to run that car. Clapshaw, where did a 5:13 come from? 295 miles an hour. Spurlock wondering the same thing, as I believe they underestimated Gary. A 5:34 at 279, not even close.
The Pro Stock Final Four is coming up, but we still got one more pair of funny cars. Welcome back to Pomona. Tony Pedregon getting set to go in the Geronimo's entry. Hoffman still holding on to that 5:04, the low ET. Here's Steve with Gary Clapshaw.
This has been a tough weekend for Gary Clapshaw. He deserves a 5:13.
Well, yeah, we were moving the wrong direction all weekend, and we figured it out last night. We're always a lap or two behind everybody else, and well, we came out today thinking we might be on the right track, and well, maybe we are.
Don't beat yourself, and you got a shot.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
I think you're right, Steve. Gary Clapshaw is one of those guys that can sneak in there and knock somebody off when they least expect it.
Tom Anderson loves it when the big money's up. He responds. They won the Big Bud Shootout at Indianapolis Labor Day weekend, $100,000. Now, Tony Pedregon. Take a look at that beautiful Geronimo car there. He is partially responsible for the paint, but there's something else he'd rather do.
Driving a Nitro funny car truly is an art form, and Tony Pedregon's become a true master of the art for Larry Minor in 1995 behind the wheel of the Geronimo's machine. And for a hobby, Tony likes to paint as well. Check out these helmet designs he has created for himself and for some of his friends. These two are Tony's personal helmets. This one for Brother Cruz, the driver of the McDonald's machine. He's also painted helmets for such drivers as Bill Elliott, Jimmy Spencer, and even P.J. Jones. If he ever gets out from behind the wheel of the Geronimo's funny car, Tony Pedregon's got a pretty good career with a paintbrush.
Yeah, that is really some neat stuff. I asked Larry Minor, why do you call it Geronimo? I thought that's what you yelled when you jumped out of an airplane or an Indian chief. He said, I don't even know what it is. I just like the sound of it. It's a neat word. It is, too. He used it in sand drag racing years ago. Hoffman in. Oh, Tony Pedregon could pull the upset. No! By a spoiler. Al Hoffman, another 5:04 to a 5:13. And Hoffman, it's a good thing he had a 303 mile an hour speed. He wouldn't have caught him.
Boy, Forts has got his work cut out for him if he wants that low ET. Hoffman is on his game. I really thought Tony Pedregon had a great shot at him. He was even quicker in the lights, and it looked like he was starting to pull away, especially when Hoffman's car got loose right here and skating all over the racetrack. Not enough. Tommy Anderson, 5:04, 303 miles an hour. The ET battle continues in the Final Four with Hoffman getting lane choice over Force. And in the other pair, Gary Clapshaw, the independent, up against Cruz Pedregon. Here's Steve with Al.
This Firebird was all over the place.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on out there. That lane didn't seem quite as good as the left lane. I think we'll go back to the left lane, but we've seen Force run good over there, but Anderson makes the calls, and Western Auto Slick 50 Pontiac here, and he's been...
That 5:04, though, you can take any lane you want over John Force. Could be the race of the weekend.
Well, I think Force knows he's got some company here, not only this year, but next year, and we're not going away.
He knows that.
Well, Al Hoffman's going to go up against Force. Tony Pedregon, a little frustrated. He knows how close he was to beating Al Hoffman, Steve.
You know, as the track is being prepped for pro stock, why don't we bring y'all up to speed on what happened in round number 2, and it was pretty strange. First, in the near lane was Mike Edwards. He was supposed to red light to give teammate George Marnell the win. Marnell lost first, if you can believe that. And here, everybody knew Buddy Ingersoll would lose to Steve Schmidt. Just how would he pick to do it? So he red lights. Schmidt advances to the Final Four. He's the captain of this whole Steve Schmidt team out of Indianapolis. Finally, a good, clean race. It was Larry Morgan and Kurt Johnson. Both green and both made a race out of it. Kurt got a bit out of the groove, but still won it with a 7:08. Now, what should have been the last classic Jim Yates-Warren Johnson battle of the season ended up with a 7:03 runaway by WJ as Yates broke. So that was the story of round number 2. And you can label this editorial if you want to. Mike Edwards is going to lose here again to Steve Schmidt. Okay, I don't have a problem with the team concept. You're trying to advance the driver who is in the hunt in the points. What I have a problem with is the charade at the starting line. If you're gonna lose, leave it in the pits. Tell them it's broke, don't bring it to the starting line. Take your car, run for lane choice, and everybody knows what's happening.
I agree with you, Steve, 100%. It's not fair to the fans, and it's not fair to the sponsors.
I mean, it's perfectly legal, but it's too easy for, well, Marnell, for example. I mean, he was supposed to win. He goofed up. Edwards didn't know what to do. We've seen this happen over the years. Mike Edwards, nobody feels worse about it than him. He wishes he was the guy that said, hey, I win this time. Steve Schmidt said, I saw him at the far end. Mike, you understand what happens here? Mike says, oh, yeah, I tried to lose to Marnell. I don't know how to lose. It's ridiculous.
And you're right, it would make things more interesting, too, if you knew the guy was coming to the line looking to post exactly what he could as the best number he could get. He'd be concentrating on that.
I feel so much better now that I've vented. Okay, how is Edwards going to lose? I think he'll just, I don't know, sit there probably.
Just don't sit too close to the lights.
Actually, maybe it is interesting this way. Oh, what a lousy reaction time from Mike Edwards. Obviously, Schmidt wins with a very nice 7:11. Would have beat him anyway. Oh, Edwards runs a 7:08 and loses. Oh, man. You do this, Ralph. I can't stand it anymore.
Yeah, well, at least this is one where we don't have to worry about anybody laying down like we did with these two at the U.S. Nationals. Kurt laid down for his dad who was trying to chase the championship. WJ did get the title. Now, of course, they go racing hard at it. Kurt, of course, held up the sign that said, yeah, but I still got a job. So let's go to my partner, Steve Andy Rooney Evans.
Well, Steve Schmidt, a 7:11 carries you to the finals. You're going to meet somebody named Johnson, and there'll be no lay down there.
No, I'm looking forward to it. It's always a real good deal between either one of us.
Who would you rather race, Kurt or Warren?
I'd rather race Warren, same age.
It may be more satisfaction.
You betcha.
Steve Schmidt does a nice job of dancing around the issue there, and we move back up to the starting line where the Johnsons are getting sent to go racing.
The reaction time between these two is crucial because that's kind of the bragging rights. Dad generally has the stronger car. Warren Johnson, now three-time actually, Winston champion. Next year they'll be running a Pontiac. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. But who gets the better reaction time is what they brag about back in the shop. They'll have 3 months to be doing that. 94 days, as a matter of fact.
Good time to take a look at these cars. As you said, it'll be the last time we see them this way. Kurt will have a Pontiac as well, but his will be with the Delco Freedom Battery sponsorship on the side.
Playing a little staging battle here. Neither wants to move in, get the motors cleaned out, who'll break. Kurt. Woo, Kurt with a huge hole shot. Kurt Johnson may take the old man to task here, but he got a little out of the groove, and that cost him. Trust me, folks, that was a race. 7:02. That may win Warren $25,000, 196 miles an hour. Kurt 7:19.
That was a great drag race, and be careful what you wish for, Steve Schmidt. You just might get it. WJ and Steve Schmidt with Warren getting the lane choice. Here's Steve at the far end with our latest winner.
Even with a 400's hole shot, there wasn't much Kurt could do to defense against your 7:02.
0-2 surprised me because the motor felt awful weak in the middle of the track. I don't know, it just
felt lazy, but on 0-2, we'll take it.
Can we count that 25 grand yet?
Not yet. It's cooling off, Steve, and there's cars out here can run right with us when they get everything right, and hopefully we don't make a mistake.
There's actually only one left, Steve Schmidt, and I don't think he can.
Already sporting his 3-time champion hat, the reigning Winston champ will go over and shake hands with son of the 3-time champ, Kurt Johnson. Hey, stay with us. We got more.
That is Alan Johnson directing his brother Blaine back at the tracks he himself burned out. I'm Steve Evans with Ralph Shaheen and Bob Fry at the Winston Select Finals in Pomona, California. I tell you what, Shelly Anderson there, Ralph, she needs a Hail Mary or a huge break, one or the other.
Well, you know, we know that they run well here in the Pomona air, but on the other side of the lanes, Alan Johnson is running well everywhere. It's just a question of how long do they continue to run well. They've got to break through and get a win in a final round eventually. It's just a question of does it come here today?
Interestingly enough, all 4 drivers in the Final Four, Johnson, Anderson, Larry Dixon, and Scott Coletta, all cut their teeth on top alcohol dragsters in the sportsman ranks. AAA baseball, so to speak. All right, one of these goes to the final. Everybody wanting to better Dixon's 469 for the 50G. A gorgeous launch by Blaine Johnson. Is it enough? It's enough for the win.
Steve, no shoot for Shelly. See if that's a problem for her.
She's got it stopped. How about a 476 for Blaine Johnson? He goes to the final round at 297 miles an hour. Anderson's departing shot of 489. And we have got a rematch of yesterday's Bud Classic. Larry Dixon and Scott Coletta.
I don't think you'll see a red light this time. Coletta's got the burnout done. You know he's been thinking about it. Let's go down to Steve with Blaine Johnson.
You got what you wanted, a final round berth of 476. What happens now? Do you load it up for low ET and 50 grand, try to win the race? You tell me.
I figured it would run a little faster on that run. Conditions are pretty good out here. We didn't change anything, but you know, we'll figure out what happened. We tried to get him run a little more speed that round, but maybe just burned up instead. I don't know. We'll have to figure out what's happening.
I think the 50 grand would be a nice touch for Blaine, but I think the gold man would mean so much more at this point to Blaine and his brother Alan. They'll go for the win. Up in smoke. Don't worry about the red light.
479 for Larry Dixon puts him into the final round, but Blaine Johnson will have the lane choice. A nice lead by both drivers.
Well, here's a look at the final 2 as we get set. Larry Dixon, who's had a magical season. Blaine Johnson still looking for his first win. Al Hoffman's wife drops the body down of the Western Auto Machine. John Force rolls out. This will be final 4 funny car. Here's Steve.
Well, this thing finally showed its mortal side, some fire out of it. 479.
It's still, hey, we're still running 470s, and guy beat Scott Coletta 2 times in one weekend. I mean, I don't think I beat him 2 times all year, and I'm just happy about that. We're in the final. We got a shot for all the Bud, you know, Slick money, the Winston money, and the NHRA money, and I'm just happy to be here right now.
In his rookie year, he ought to be happy.
The one thing Larry Dixon hasn't done is smoke the tires once all weekend. That's a sign that that car is really going well.
And one thing this car hasn't done all weekend is one of those punishing wheel stands it was so famous for at 3 or 4 different races. The open of the show, that car that was flying was Al Hoffman. Austin Coyle, his trademark toothpick firmly ensconced. Says, okay, John boy, this is a battle here. These 2 badmouth each other. Hoffman has said many times, I want everything Force has got. Right now, Force wants something Hoffman's got, and that's low ET. Force was late. John, you better hurry, buddy. Not enough. Al Al Hoffman's 5:06 beats Forrest 5:04 with a 7. Not enough to take low ET. John Forrest is out of here, period. Both of them over 300.
Take a look at what happens at the lights, because this is where Al Hoffman wins it. You can see him get just a hair better lead. A 4:52 reaction time for Hoffman, a 4:93 for Force, and the race is over. At the far end of the racetrack, both cars just humping along at all 8 cylinders. Hoffman a 5:06 at 300, a 5:04.7 for Force. Here's Steve.
You gave him a whooping, Al.
That's a preview of next year, John. We're coming.
On a hole shot, your 06 beat his 04.
How fast was his 04?
Not as quick as yours.
All right.
Well, Al still got a tight grip on that slick 50 money, doesn't he?
Yeah, had Forrest, even though he lost, run a few thousands quicker, he'd have got the 50 grand. Well, here is Gary Clapshaw, who was part of the only 3-car crash in drag racing history. That'll be a trivia question. They were on the return road when Pedregon blew up. Pedregon's body hit Ray Higley in the other lane. Clapshaw slammed on the brakes in the van. The guy driving the funny car slammed into the back of his van. So all at the same time, we had 3 damaged funny cars. Bob Brandt takes that piece of tape off that hole in the injector. It resets the idle. They all have a different way of doing it.
Good news for the McDonald's crew is that the car owner, Joe Gibbs, has been nominated for induction into the NFL's Football Hall of Fame this weekend.
I congratulated him on that. He said, Steve, there's 60 nominees. It ain't over yet. I'll tell you, when he gets the parts bill for this weekend, he's going to be stunned. That body explosion and blower was about 50 grand. Here we go. Clapshaw blazes the top. Cruise, another supercharger explosion. This time the body stays on, though. A 528 puts him in the final 4, but look at the damage to the windshield and the carbon fiber Pontiac body.
Lots of problems for Cruz Pedregon. He gets off the line with a 5:05 reaction time, and that's not real quick, but it doesn't matter, because look at the problems for Clapshaw. Not far after leaving the line, Clapshaw's done. Cruz stays in it, and watch the blower. Boom! You saw the flames. You can see what it's done to the body, the windshield, and the engine components underneath. Big problems for Cruiser, and he's got a big test coming up in Al Hoffman. Here's Steve.
It was flying until it blew, and it blew, well, not as bad as Friday, but pretty bad.
I just told Joe Gibbs, don't get discouraged. We've blown this poor McDonald's car up this weekend, but I'll tell you what, seeing that happen and seeing the little light come on at the end, meaning that we wanted just a great deal. These guys have worked hard getting this car back in shape.
There's some body damage. Does the Batman body come out of the top Eliminator Club for more action?
Fans, you might see a black car if we can't get this one fixed, but hey, for Shell, McDonald's, Pontiac, we just appreciate them.
It was called Batman Forever, after all.
And it is Halloween weekend here in Pomona. Look at the damage to Cruiser's car. He's got to be getting gun shy. We'll be back.
After 19 races and hundreds of thousands of entries in sportsman and professional categories of the National Outrun Association, 6 cars remain in 1995. This is the Pro Stock Final. Steve Schmidt, Indianapolis, Indiana. 2 wins this year. 1 at the expense of Warren Johnson in Columbus, Ohio. This summer, can he do it one more time? I think not.
Well, they call Warren the professor for good reason. Steve Schmidt does tune a pretty good motor.
Oh, yeah. Identical reaction times. This one will be won on power, and the power belongs to the professor. Another 702, 196 miles per hour. We know where the $25,000 in slick 50 money goes in Pro Stock, to Sugar Hill, Georgia.
Well, nobody was throwing in the towel on this one. Both of them with tremendous reaction times. And as Steve pointed out, this would come down to a classic battle of engine builders. Warren Johnson doing what he knows best up against Steve Schmidt, who apparently still has a couple of tricks to learn as Warren posts another amazing number. Steve?
$25,000 tip from Slick 50. You've won it.
Oh, thanks, Steve. I'll tell you, that was getting a little rough at the end there. We were bouncing around, didn't have near enough clutch on it. We probably slowed down 200 or 300 from what it could have run, but I'm really happy for this thing. We've had 13 wonderful years at Oldsmobile. A final tribute to them winning this race. It's been unbelievable, and we're looking for the future with Pontiac.
We're looking forward to it as well. Warren Johnson made some serious cash today, boys.
Well, that one's destined for a Hall of Fame or a museum somewhere. Here are the final Winston Pro Stock point standings. The third Winston title for Warren Johnson. Jim Yates gave it a tremendous charge all season long. You can expect more out of him in the years to come.
As expected, the Cruz Pedregon card now adorned with the Batman for everybody. This was the scene moments ago in the pits. We told you about the damage to the McDonald's body. The Batman for everybody was in the top Eliminator Club, hanging from the ceiling as an ornament. It was only run for about a month to promote the movie On the Break. It did its job. They tried to loan this body to Ray Higley because they did so much damage to his car in that explosion Friday. It would not fit on Higley's car. Darn good thing.
Well, the other thing they did, Steve, was take a lot of parts off of Corey Mack's Top Fuel dragster to mount onto the engine of Cruz's machine. They took the supercharger, the ignition, the fuel management system, a lot of the parts that think were giving them problems with the red machine.
Last buddy car race of the year, can Al Hoffman hang on to the $50,000 bonus? Can Cruz Pedregon keep a body on the car? Oh, buddy. Oh, baby. It is Hoffman. 5:06. He wins the event title. He wins the 50 grand at 298. Pedregon shut it off just before the finish line. I guarantee you, Ralph, he felt something go wrong in that car and did not want to burn it to the ground.
Hey, I'd be a little gun shy as well, Steve. Tipping a hat to Cruz's crew for getting him back out there and running as well as they did. Because at this point, it sure looks like Cruz is well on his way to topping up a phenomenal weekend. But watch the candles go out there, and Pedregon loses as Hoffman gets the win. Steve?
Al Hoffman, you just scored about $100,000, but the highlight of your weekend had to be defeating John Force in round 2.
Yeah, that was real nice, and we plan on doing that a lot next year, but to win the race here for our sponsors, Western Auto Slick 50, BDS, I mean, they're out here on the West Coast. They got the best supercharger in the business, and I've won this one. This one was for my mother back in Connecticut. I've been trying to win one for her and say it all year. This is for you, Mom.
Here's a look at the funny car points now as the chase for that Winston title is over. Force gets his 5th crown. Hoffman still frustrated, but in 2nd. Cruz Pedregon gave it a good run. He'll finish in 3rd. One more sniff of nitro to go in 1995. Can Larry Dixon cap off a $250,000 weekend, and can Blaine Johnson get his first win? We'll find out.
We're back at Pomona for a historic Top Fuel final. Buster Couch, the last time he will ever throw that switch. The most money ever on the line in a 2-car drag race, as big as a $150,000 swing is possible here. Blaine Johnson has won his first title, and oh my, look at this. He picks Larry Dixon's pocket for 50 grand. 468 makes it a $100,000 weekend for Blaine.
We said that Blaine Johnson would go for the win. He got that, and he also gets some money. Clutch dust pours out of the car as he launches off the line with a 460 reaction time. Was Blaine Johnson ever on kill on this run? He finally gets a chance to talk to Steve.
When do you hear this, buddy? You not only won your first race, 468, you got the 50.
That's beautiful. Gosh, it's unbelievable. We've been trying so hard this year, and nothing ever seemed to go our way. And today was perfect, you know, and we made the right calls at the right time. And, you know, I drove good this weekend. the crew did an awesome job. I mean, they worked flawlessly all day long. Al made the right calls, and we won the race.
You won the race and a whole lot of money. I'll tell you, the winner's going to go a lot easier for these guys in Santa Maria with that cash.
The Winston Top Fuel point standings wrap up this way. Coletta gets his second crown. Corey Mack is second. The rookie is third. And Blaine Johnson comes home in fifth. A promotional consideration and fee paid for by the special offer from Diamond P Sports.
Relive all the great moments from the 1995 NHRA Winston drag racing season in Diamond P Sports Yearly Review, Drag Racing 95. Follow the action in Top Fuel Funny Car, Pro Stock, and Pro Stock Motorcycle as teams battle for the Winston Championships. Thrilled in the season's most exciting side-by-side quarter-mile action and all the year's record-breaking performances. Credit card orders now 1-800-368-1155 or send $24.95 plus shipping and handling to the address in your screen. 1995 was a season to remember, and you can relive those memories with Diamond P Sports Drag Racing 95. Dial 1-800-368-1155 today.
Who says white men can't jump? When you win your first Top Fuel drag race, you can get plenty of altitude. Buster Couch also will be handing over the keys to the starting line to NHRA's new official starter, Rick Stewart. American Sports Cavalcade is a production of Diamond P Sports in association with the Nashville Network.